The Republic of Buryatia is located on the east shore of Lake Baikal. The large territory, stretched like a crescent from north to south, belongs to a mountain area. Forests cover 80% of the territory of the Republic. The indigenous species of forest pests are typical for this region, as well as for Siberia in general, namely 5 species of longhorn beetle of the genus Monochamus, Asian gypsy moth, and Siberian moth. Every year, the specialists of Rosselhoznadzor and Buryat Branch of FGBU VNIIKR carry out forest inspections to detect Asian gypsy moth, Lymantria dispar asiatica. The pest causes the greatest damage to Siberian larch. For whom have you set the pheromone traps? There are 20 traps for gypsy moth and 50 traps for Siberian moth. Here we have 2 males flown into good and fresh adults. Will be a part of our collection. Excellent. The specialists use pheromone traps produced by FGBU VNIIKR during the season. They put them at a height of 1.5 to 2 meters on trees which grow on the edges and along the forest roads and tracks. Together with the specialists of the Buryat Branch of FGBU VNIIKR, we go onto the site and set traps in the period of the adult flight, late July to early August. We set traps according to the instructions, then come in 3 weeks and remove traps, process documents, draw up a framework act, sample data, and sent them all to the laboratory of VNIIKR for further expert review. The specialists have identified the main signs of tree pest infestation: light brown colorations resembling a sponge on the trunk and leaves of the host plant, a lot of fed-on leaf blades in the crown or complete defoliation of the plant, the presence of cobweb nests on the branches inside which caterpillars and pupae are visible, caterpillars of gray or yellow-gray color with long bundles of hairs, with red and blue spots on the dorsal surface, pupae of brown color with bunches of dark yellow hairs on the covers. Being in relation with solar cycles, drought, and hydrology changes, the outbreaks of the pest periodically reoccur every 5 to 10 years. Pheromone monitoring allows us to not only detect the affected area, but also to decrease the number of males in this territory. Here is a gypsy moth dispenser. We define all the attracted insects according to methodological guidelines. Then these insects will be selected. Some of them will be part of our collection, others will be sent to FGBU VNIIKR in Moscow. The body length ranges from 40 to 55 millimeters for males and 60 to 90 millimeters for females. The coloration is light and dark brown. Here are 2 males of a gypsy moth. They have very typical feather-like antennas which females don't have. Certainly, we will make micro-slides of the genitalia later. Differences between gypsy moth and nun moth are not always visible, but the coloration is rather typical. In 2016, the areas affected by Asian gypsy moth were reported in 15 regions of Russia. The area of the imposed quarantine zone was 87 million hectares. Aerial treatment using the Russian biological product Lipyozidid intestinal insecticide of biological type partially helps to control it. In Siberia, it has natural enemies that limit the number of moths, but its quarantine risk is related to a possible introduction in other regions where it might face no parasites or predators. Therefore, it can cause more damage, as was the case in North America. Asian gypsy moth is included in the common list of quarantine objects of the Eurasian Economic Union.